Hey guys, Otakuology podcast back with another Welcome to Gravity Falls. I'm Jen, and today we're going to be talking about Season 1, Episode 6, Dipper versus Manliness. So jumping into it, it's really funny. Basically, they're at the Mystery Shack, and there's an indecisive customer that they just lock in the store and leave to go to a diner to eat. While they're trying to decide what they want, what they're going to get. You know, Uncle Stan is a cheapskate, so he orders I think he says a seventh of a plate. So I don't know what it is. And so he gets a little bit and then orders Mabel and Dipper a plate of ketchup and a plate of mayonnaise or something. So both of them are fed up basically with him basically saying that they want to eat and stuff too. I don't know if that was a joke that was in it or not, or if it was just trying to say how cheap Grunkle Stan actually is. But he tells them that basically that's all that they're getting. Mabel says she wants pancakes. And Grunkle Stan says, "Oh, we're not buying pancakes. Do I look made out of money?" There's a little funny part there because a dollar or something slides out from one of his sleeves and he stuffs it back in. And so Dipper looks across, and there is one of those old man strength testers or whatever. Forgot what the other one's called. This one's one of the grip ones. I know there's the arm wrestling one, or if you go to the fair, they have the one with the hammer that you hit and the little weight goes up to the bell. So they have that. Trying to figure out, exactly what it is, and Dipper's like, "I'm a man. We're gonna get these free pancakes, Mabel, so we can enjoy some actual food and stuff." And he walks up and goes to squeeze it and starts going up, comes back down, and basically tells them that he is a wimp. There's nothing else that's happening. He's not strong enough to do anything. Somebody else comes up and breaks the machine because of how hard they grip it, and gives everybody free pancakes around the thing. So at least they got something to eat. But who knows on that whole thing, if any of that was true or not. So then that's how you kind of get this episode that's a diverting path between the two. You have Dipper's kind of story, and then you have Mabel and Grunkle Stan's kind of story. Grunkle Stan kind of likes one of the waitresses at the diner that has a lazy eye. Her name is Lazy Susan, which I think is really funny because, if you know about it, then you do. But if not, and you're too young, a Lazy Susan is actually a turntable thing that used to be an old design back in the day, which I thought was funny because one of my first tables that I got when I moved into kind of my own apartment and stuff, was a reverse Lazy Susan. The outside spun, not the inside. So it's kind of funny her having that name, having those memories and stuff. But we have Mabel that says, "Oh yeah, we're going to go do this stuff. I'm going to try and make you the right guy for Lazy Susan, Grunkle Stan. Let's go and figure that out." Meanwhile, Dipper goes into the woods, trying to prove that he is a man. You see him basically laying on the ground. He's kind of behind a tree, so you can't really tell what he's doing just yet. I thought he was doing setups to begin with, but then he was actually lifting weights, and the weight he was lifting was actually just a little skinny branch. And he only did 4 or 5, so that was another kind of funny thing to see. But he's, trying to work on himself, get more manly, And I thought that was funny because instantly, when most of us guys are younger, we all sit there and kind of think about that stuff. What do I do? And instantly, I think almost every guy goes to, I got to work out. That's what I got to do. I got to get some muscle, and that will make me more manly. I just think that's one of those things that all of us kind of get to. You either do that or you get into a more trickier situation, like some kind of crazy ass stunt or something like that. So he's sitting there and trees start falling over. Everybody starts running away and it can't figure out what exactly is going on. And he ends up tripping, Dipper does, and doesn't get away fast enough. And out comes this Minotaur looking guy, and Dipper starts talking to him. Dipper had dropped some beef jerky, which is actually called Real Man Jerky in the show. Has a little character on it that looks like Hulk Hogan. And I think this was actually a funny shout out to Hulk Hogan, because right after he looks at it, the little guy on it basically says, "You're inadequate." And so Dipper throws it away and he goes, "Yeah, you're telling me, brother." So I really think that was probably a Hulk Hogan shout out, with the character on the bag looking like him, and obviously Dipper saying that. So Dipper is trying to figure that out, talking to the Minotaur, remembers back to something that Mabel had said, about, oh, well, you don't even have, like, chest hair, which I think is another funny thing, because isn't that another thing that most guys are like, oh, man, until you get your first chest hair, you can't do da-da-da-da-da. So he asks him, hey, will you train me? Will you do all this stuff? And he's like, sure, come with me. Asks him to hold on to his back hair, and they start running through the forest. And it's kind of a funny thing. I don't know if there was any reason for it. I thought it was hilarious just thinking about how it is about not, like, getting out of anybody's way. If you have a fight coming or whatever, you get into it. And as he's running, anything that's like right in front of him, he just runs through it. The Minotaur guy. And finally goes in, and he gives Dipper this line, which is funny. He goes, in the forest are the gnomes, in the ocean are the mermaids. He goes, but they're all sissies. We're men, and we're in the man cave. Which is what I thought was funny, because they're Minotaurs, and they're in the man cave, and everything. Basically, this episode is talking about being a man, except for this kind of Mabel Grunkle Sands side story involved in it. So Dipper asks them if they'll train him. The other Minotaurs get in a fight, which they all have weird, stupid names. And they're like, no, we're not going to train you because you're like wimpy and stuff. Don't worry about it. And Dipper kind of plays the smart card of telling them, oh, well, you're just not man enough to train me. You're not going to do anything, which proves that you're not man enough. And tricks them into basically doing it by saying that. It's kind of a funny part in there. But that happens. We go through like a Rocky montage of him trying to figure everything out and do all these different like challenges and chores and stuff to get farther into being a man. Then they find out that you basically have to get some kind of like award. It's kind of like when you go on a spirit journey in Indian movies and stuff like that, or Native American movies, where they have to go in and go on a spirit quest or something. Well, his quest is you have to go in, you have to kill the enemy of the Minotaurs and bring back his head. So the only thing we know about this is it's called the multi-bear. We don't know why it's called the multi-bear or whatever until Dipper finds where it lives. He goes in there, And it's like this weird mutated black bear that can talk, and it has like 6 or 7 heads in different places on its body. It has a bunch of legs and arms and just all this other stuff. It looks like, you know, a conjoined twins kind of thing, except there's 6 or 7 of them. And I mean, it's just this weird, like, thing. So Dipper challenges it to a fight, beats it, and it says, well, before you kill me, I want to listen to my favorite song, which is something that we throw back at the beginning of it, when Grunkle Stan basically told Dipper that he wasn't man enough earlier, especially because he kept calling this thing the incident, and it was him walking into the bathroom with Dipper and they're singing a song that was kind of girly, which I love, like I said in some of the other episodes and stuff, of how things get drawn out of like the story into our real lives and everything, like the Hulk Hogan and the beef jerky thing. This one, basically the CD in it is called Baba, which is a play on ABBA, and it's a play on the Dancing Queen song, and it's called Disco Girl. So if you catch it and you kind of hear them kind of start humming it here and there at different points, you catch that it's actually the Dancing Queen song. So we basically have Dipper ask the multi-bear, like, hey, you know, what's your last request kind of thing. And the multi-bear says, I want to listen to my favorite song by Baba, Disco Girl. And then they kind of have this moment where Dipper tells him, you know, oh, I like this song too. I don't really know, you know, why you like this song. You know, you're a big, scary monster kind of deal. And I'm just this little guy. And he's like, you know, if you can like this song, then it doesn't really mean anything to me. What the Manitars or anybody thinks of me, or if I'm really a man or anything else like that. Which I also think this one plays off of the last episode, the inconveniencing, where they went to the convenience store of Wendy and her friends kind of thinking that Dipper is basically like a child, you know. So back in this episode, we do that. Dipper goes back to the cave with the Manitars, says, no, I'm not killing the multi-bear. Multi-bear is pretty cool. You know, we're not going to fight, and I have some words with y'all. So he tells them that, you know, basically he might not be like the biggest, the toughest man or anything or whatever, but there's a reason why it's a good song and that everybody should listen to it and whatnot, which is, you know, it made it onto the top 40s list, which I thought it was funny. That was brought up because obviously on VH1 and stuff, they used to have the top 40s. So that was another thing that's kind of, I think, funny, nostalgic for older people actually watching Gravity Falls, is because we actually know a lot of this stuff already that's going to get brought up into it. So it's just, it's awesome. And then we cut back to Grunkle Stan actually goes to the diner, and Mabel can't figure out how to help him at all. He's never going to be a gentleman. He's not going to figure anything out about it. He's going to be himself. And so she asks Lazy Susan if she will, basically, who Lazy Susan likes to try and fix things, if Lazy Susan will try and fix Grunkle Stan. And that's how they get her number. Which later on at the end of it, we find out that Grunkle Stan's like, I bit off more than I can chew. I really don't care about this. How do I get away from Lazy Susan now? So that was kind of a funny thing. But we have Mabel that sees Dipper. Dipper's walking down the street, comes back, brings up everything about seeing the Manitars and the multi-bear and how he basically, spared the multi-bear even though a lot of people disagreed with him, didn't like him for it, which is the Manitars, and how he didn't feel like he was a man because of that. And Grunkle Stan gives him that kind of reassured living moment, like happens in all great movies and shows, of the redeeming moment of where like an older man figure usually talks to the kid or whatever and says, oh, well, this is why, or this is you standing up for this, and that makes you manly. So because he stood up for something that nobody else agreed with and didn't go with the idea of, with Dipper not killing the multi-bear, Grunkle Stan believes that makes him even more of a man than those people just seeing him as a man. So that clicks with Dipper. He's like, oh my gosh, you're right. I am manly. Mabel goes, what's that? And Dipper pulls down his shirt and he's got one chest hair. Finally, he's got that one chest hair. What he's been wanting the whole time. And Mabel has to go and ruin it because earlier in the episode, she tells us, hey, I scrapbook a lot. I scrapbook everything. So she's got the scrapbook with random stuff in it. And she takes a set of tweezers right as he's showing it, grabs his chest hair, rips it off, and puts it in her scrapbook. Yeah, Mabel's weird. So now we have went from having this one chest hair to not having any. And the last little thing is Grunkle Stan tells him, hey, you might not have that chest hair. You might have just lost it. But if you're anything like me, and since we're family, I'm pretty sure it will be, you won't have to worry about it. And Grunkle Stan rips his shirt open. And just hair everywhere. And Dipper goes, oh, well, that's good to know. But I need you to put something on, Grunkle Stan. That's disgusting. So, we just get that feeling, and I think that's a funny thing too, out of this entire episode, is that a lot of us see that as being a man, a symbol of how much body hair you have and stuff like that. And when it relates to like anime and manga and stuff, that's how a lot of American characters are perceived. Blonde hair, blue eyes, muscly, with a lot of body hair. So it's almost like a status symbol for a lot of things, is having this body hair and being a manly man. So I think the good moral of this episode was, for you, sticking up for what you believe in makes you more of a man than however amount of body hair that you have. So it was a great episode. Again, another one that I like. I think we're kind of into the nitty gritty of the cluster of them that I like, before we hop over into more stuff. But yeah, so that was the episode, Dipper versus Manliness. So yeah, I mean, you should jump in, you should check it out, talk about it, whatever. I mean, it's a really good show. I really, really enjoy it. So anyway, like we always say on the podcast, guys, I will see you next Tuesday. Thanks for listening.